Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you. Chapter 7, Real Live Rattler. After the lunch things were packed away, Jake said, "We'll leave in about 45 minutes, so you have some time to play around on the beach." Dee Dee and the boys began skipping rocks on the water. Jenny decided to try building a stone castle with the mud and rocks at the river's edge. Maria walked slowly back to her log, thinking hard and praying. "What do I do, Jesus? Help me, please." 15 minutes later, Chris climbed up on the log beside her. For a while, neither said a word. Maria stared straight ahead at the river for a few minutes. She said another prayer, asking Jesus to help her talk to Chris, like Dee Dee suggested. Finally, Maria took a deep breath and asked, "What bad things did you tell Dad about me the night before we left to come here?" "I don't remember telling him bad things about you." Maria's face got red and her voice got louder. "You lie about me and don't even remember?" "Okay, what did you hear?" "I heard you and Dad talking about me, and then I heard you tell Dad not to say anything." Chris got a funny look on his face. "Were you listening when I was talking to Dad in my bedroom? You were supposed to be in your room." "So you do remember." "Cool it, sis. Tell me what you heard that was so bad. And how come you were listening at my door anyway?" Maria hesitated, feeling a lump rising in her throat. She drew a deep breath. "I was going to the bathroom, and I heard Dad's voice in your room. He said, 'Oh, she does she? Well, she'll soon find out differently.' Then you said, 'Don't tell her I told you, Dad, or she'll be mad at me.' And Dad said, 'Oh, I won't tell. She'll find out.' Then I heard Mom coming, so I ran to the bathroom." Chris turned to Maria, a puzzled look on his face. "And you are mad at me for that?" She nodded. The lump in her throat was getting bigger. She decided not to say anything about the note she found. Not yet, anyway. Chris paused. Then he said, "I didn't lie about you, you know. I didn't even say anything bad." "But maybe you've got the wrong idea about this. I can't tell you what Dad and I were talking about, so you just have to trust me. You'll find out all about it next week." Chris slid off the log and ran to join the other boys. "Let's go!" Jake yelled a few minutes later. Maria slid off the log and started toward the raft. "Come on, Maria," Dee Dee called. "It's time to get into our wetsuits." Maria pasted a smile on her face. "Coming!" Back on the river, Maria forgot her troubles for a while. She felt the raft lift and drop, twist and turn. But the part she liked best was the time between the rapids, because the raft floated silently and no one spoke. She liked looking for animals on shore. Sometimes they spotted wild animals looking at them. Plop! Splash! "What was that?" Willie asked. "A fish. I imagine it was jumping out to take a look at you," Jake replied. "Look!" Sammy said excitedly as more fish jumped. "Did you see that?" "Yep. Fish sure love this part of the river," Jake said. "Look down into the water." "Wow," Chris said. "I see a big fish." "And here's one," Dee Dee cried. Maria couldn't help herself. She joined the fun of finding fish in the deep, clear water. "I see 3 down here," she squealed. "Are they salmon?" Mr. Shue asked. "Yep, and there are some bull trout, too." Jenny looked, too. "They're so big! Why, some of them salmon get as big as 35 pounds. "My dog Coco only weighs 20 pounds, Willie exclaimed. For a few more minutes they watched the salmon swim below them and jump in front of them. Jake muttered to himself, "Where is that varmint? He should be here somewhere. There he is!" "Who?" the kids wanted to know. "Well, you just watch that big flat rock over there on the bank." "I don't see," Chris began. "Where?" Dee Dee asked. Jake steered the raft. "There's nothing there. It's just a bumpy old rock." "Oh!" Maria gasped, spotting a large spotted snake covering the top of the rock. "He must like the warm sun," Mr. Teller commented. "Is that a rattlesnake?" Sammy asked, his eyes as big as baseballs. "Nope, just a gopher snake," Jake told the kids as he let the raft drift even closer to the bank. "Looks a lot like the rattler, but he only looks scary. He's pretty harmless." Dee Dee screwed up her face. "I'm sure it's slimy, though." "Naw," Jake drawled. "Them snakes are about as slimy as an old boot in the desert." "Hey, his big spots are almost square," Sammy said. "Look at his face." Maria was getting excited. "It looks like he's wearing a tiny headband down over his eyes." Jake chuckled. "I never heard it called that before, but you're right. I gotta tell that one to Tom." Jeff guided the boat slowly along the bank, just inches from the boulders. Suddenly, Chris and Sammy shattered the stillness with shouts. "Jeff! Rattler!" They scrambled away from the rocks to the other side of the raft. Maria gasped as she looked into the eyes of the large, coiled rattlesnake. Jeff shot out the oar and punched the nearest boulder sharply, jerking the raft away from the shore. The shoebox kids plainly saw the snake's brown diamonds shining in the sun. No one spoke for a few moments as the raft picked up speed. "Well, if that don't beat all," Jake said, wiping his forehead. "A real live rattler," Chris said, looking like he'd just received $1 million. "Okay, now, hold on to your hats now," Jake ordered. "We've got 2 more rapids before we get to our camp at Rustler's Cove."
The story you have heard today is a chapter of the Shoebox Kids, Book 11, Rattlesnake River Adventure, written by Sandy Zogg, edited and created by Jerry D. Thomas, and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.